Hi everybody, David Nour. I want to welcome you to this week's Periscope. Sorry I'm a few minutes late, but that's the beauty of Periscope, right? Come when you can and join when you can, and even if you can't, join it live, join it afterwards. So I want to welcome you to this week's session. Just a couple of quick reminders. If you are new to Periscope or you haven't been here before, if you swipe, it allows you to share this session with others that you would think it's appropriate or valuable to. Number two, whether you're watching it live or afterwards, you can tap your screen and give it hearts, which tells me and tells others that this particular comment was useful to you, it was helpful to you. So those are a couple of just kind of housekeeping items. I don't know if you can see, but this is a welder. And I'm in my garage. I'm in my happy place. This is where I learn. This is where I grow. This is where I get a chance to be me outside of what I do for a living, which, by the way, I'm a big believer of, that what you do for a living isn't necessarily who you are. So this is a really good chance for me to get away from my desk and email and all that stuff and really focus on another part of my life beyond family and kids and that I'm passionate about. So this is a really good chance to get away from all that and really focus on things that bring me peace and calm and really help me, for lack of a better word, escape from all that we got going on. And I'm a big believer that we all need that, right? So this week's session is 5 simple ideas to help you extend your comfort zone. 5 simple ideas to help you seize opportunities. Get away from this perceived box that we put ourselves into. And the reason I wanted to show you my welder is because it is Mac Daddy, right? It's an Everlast welder. I don't know when was the last time you welded, but for me it was probably about 30 years ago in high school shop. Where you learn what welding is and how to do it, and that's not what I do for a living. This is not the norm. But as I build this garage, and if you've attended the previous sessions, you know I'm passionate about motorcycles and learning how to ride them, learning to work on them. And my parents weren't really hands-on in terms of doing this kind of stuff. We didn't have a welder at home, so I love learning about these things. And it's a classic case of me pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. We're talking about gases, and we're talking about a very technical set of tools and technical set of skills that I just didn't grow up with and I don't have. So as I thought about this session, I thought about other things that I've done, other things you may have done where you had to do the exact same thing. Push yourself outside of that comfort zone. And I came up with 5 steps that I think might be useful to you. Number 1, and some of these are going to be easier said than done, but just stay with me and kind of think about some of these things for a second. So number 1, willing to try a lot of new things. That willingness is a really good starting place. And if you're willing to try new things, specifically food, right, our taste buds, because food creates memories, experiences. Instead of just buying more stuff, I can only wear one shirt or one pair of pants at a time, one pair of shoes at a time. So instead of more stuff, I love creating and experiencing new experiences, right? People, and listen, I've been a student of business relationships for the last 2 decades. Not everybody's going to be your cup of tea or my cup of tea. So really figuring out new people, and I'll talk more about this in a second, but also places. I love visiting museums, but I don't really want to hang out there for the next 5 or 10 hours. I've been to the world-renowned Louvre Museum, right, Mona Lisa, in Paris. And after about 2 hours or so, I've kind of had enough. So number 1 is you got to be willing to try a lot of different things. I've unfortunately met some people that go to the exact same restaurant every time they go out. Do you have a preference? Sure. They vacation to the exact same place. And that's another reason probably why my family and I've never bought a second home or because you want to try a lot of different and a lot of new experiences, places, food, and people. Those are the four that I thought would be interesting. But after, this is number two, after each one, you have to be disciplined enough to capture, and I usually do this better when I write them down. Capture, what did you like? What did you like the most? I ask my kids often, what did you like least about that trip? Because if you can start to, you intuitively know that, your gut feel know it, but if you don't capture it, you can't repeat what was positive and you can't avoid a lot of times what was negative, right? You may not be into heights, so probably a zip lining trip, you intuitively know, but what if it was a starting out? What if it was a shorter one? What if it was an introduction to one? That would get you outside of that comfort zone. You may like a specific kind of food, or I like specific kind of places. I'm more of a beach person than a mountain person. I like to be around more introverts than the extroverts that are all about them, right? So if you're savvy enough to capture some of those right after the experience and give the whole experience a chance, I think you would start to create a pretty solid list of things you should and want to do more of, and some things that, yeah, you may be willing to try again, but it just wasn't as much fun. And the other thing I think about is, was it that specific event or person that wasn't as much fun, or you just don't like mountain biking, or you just don't like sweating, or you just don't like the holistic event? That's why I said wait till the end of it, but try to capture what did you like the most, what did you like the least. So number one, willing to try a lot of different things, new things. Number two, be disciplined enough to capture both the positive, what you like the most, what you like the least. Number three, find a passion. Find a passion. As I said when I started this Periscope, I'm a big believer that what we do for a living isn't who we are. So what can you find that you can do outside of your vocation that gives you that peace, that gives you that escape, that gives you, for me, that's motorcycles. And I want to delineate for a second, hobbies from passion. Hobbies fill your time. Passions make them. So find something that, and I'm talking beyond our family and friends, something that you're passionate about. To some people, it's rock climbing. To others, it's dancing. To others, it's, again, find what brings you joy. And you're only going to get that from trying new things, right? If you really, again, my wife and kids bought me a 49cc scooter for Father's Day 5-6 years ago. And once I got that thing, and once I got on it, and I really felt that sense of freedom most people do when they get on two wheels. And the lifelong learner I've been, I said, I want to learn more. So I went to a bunch of classes, and I bought my first bike, and worked with a client and got another bike, and worked with a buddy, and I got a really fast bike that wants to kill you every time you get on it. And then I went to a track, and then I went off-road, then off-road schools. And so by trying a lot of different things, you figure out what you like and what you don't like. And investing that time and effort really allows that experience to kind of soak in and say, yeah, that was an expensive restaurant, expensive meal. I'm just not sure French food or Thai food is for me. So it's really important to figure out what works and what doesn't for you. Let me. So this is, I want to make sure this is going on. Yeah, this is great. So willing to try a lot of new things. Find a passion that you're excited. After each one, capture what works well, what doesn't. Find a passion, a hobby, not a hobby, but a passion that makes up your time. Number 4, extend your reach with relationships. So one of the things that when it comes to motorcycles, I'm really excited about recently is long distance riding. If you think about it, beyond an hour or two, you need some parts, you need equipment, you need extra gas, you need more maps and navigation and emergency supplies, right? So I don't know anything about this stuff, and yeah, I can read them in books or I can read online, but one of the things that I believe helps us extend our reach is other relationships. So oddly enough, through a local motorcycle club that I belong to, I met a husband and wife who ride their motorcycle from Atlanta to Alaska every year. Can you imagine that distance and what it takes to enjoy that, much less survive it? So I've gotten to know them, and I've invested time and effort and taken the guy to lunch. And so what do you do in case of emergency? Some parts you're by yourself for a really long time, and how do other people keep track of you, and what's the best communication system, and what do you do about food or extra gas? So you learn through your relationships things that you don't know. And as I said, none of us are ever born with any of this. We all pick it up. We all learn it from somebody else. So really important that you extend your reach, extend your perceived limitations through your relationships. Number 5, you've got to get over fear of failing. A lot of people, unfortunately, that I meet are so afraid of failing. They're so afraid of failing that they don't ever try something new. A good friend, Erica Anderson, has written a book, and the title of it is Be Bad First. And she says if you're willing to be bad at something, that's the first step to learning and to growing and to doing more interesting things. So those are 5 ideas, that 5 hopefully simple ideas that I think you can put to work to get you beyond your perceived limitations, get you beyond your perceived reach, and really help you seize opportunities, personally and professionally. Just a quick review. Willing to try a lot of new things, and I specifically said food, experiences, people, and places. 2, after each one, be disciplined enough to capture what did you like the most, what did you like the least. 3, find a passion, and I delineated hobbies that take up your time and passions that make them. 4, extend your reach through your relationships. Seek out others that may have more experience or more knowledge or more access than you do in that particular area. And 5, you've got to get over this fear of failing. If you don't fail, and I tell my kids this all the time, you're not human. It's what you choose to do with after that failure. And in that last Periscope, I showed you some examples of how to turn failure into success. So my name is David Nour. The website is just nourgroup.com. I've written a bunch of books. I like doing these Periscopes because it gives me a chance to capture some ideas and hopefully share them with you. I hope you keep coming back for more. I typically do them on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock Eastern. Thanks, everybody. Take care. All the best. Bye-bye.